This landing page has made over $3 million for dog trainers. And if you're a dog trainer who wants to make money with ads, then you must have a good landing page. Otherwise, you're going to waste a ton of money on clicks that don't actually convert into leads. So in this video, I'm going to break down our proven landing page blueprint step by step, section by section, so you don't have to deal with the headache of wasting time and money figuring it out yourself, and instead you can just copy what is already proven to work. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name's Elijah. I own a marketing agency where we help dog trainers get more clients through paid ads. We've generated over $3 million in additional revenue for our dog training clients. With that said, let's go ahead and dive into the video. Here's what we're going to cover in today's video. First, we're going to cover why landing pages work better than websites. And then we're going to dive into the landing page blueprint, which is where we're going to break down our landing page section by section and go over why we have each section and what elements you should have within that section to make it as effective as possible. Those sections include the hero section, the problem section, benefits/features section. We have the social proof section, the services section, risk reduction section, the gallery section, and lastly, the areas we serve section. And at the end of this video, after we've broken down each one of these sections piece by piece, we're going to go ahead and at the end of this video, I'll show you what it looks like when it's all put together as one landing page. With that said, let's get into it. Why landing pages work better than websites. The internet moves fast and users expect a seamless, intuitive experience with as little friction as possible. Studies show visitors often decide within 5 to 10 seconds whether they'll stay on a page or leave. Even small amounts of confusion, irrelevant information, or unclear messaging can cause users to bounce. This is a very common mistake I see dog trainers make, where they're running ads and they're taking people to their website. And the problem overall is that your website has too much fluff, too much irrelevant actions, or rather irrelevant information, and too many various actions that a user can take. You know, you have client portals, you have newsletter signups, you have blogs that they can read, social media links that they can click off and get distracted by. We want to remove anything that is not relevant to the ad that we showed to the visitor, and we want to make it very clear and easy for them to take the next steps that we want, which is for them to give us a phone call or to opt in through a form submission. And if you're just taking users to your website, there's way too much fluff and irrelevant details that distract from the goal we have, which is to get them to become a lead. When someone clicks on your ad, they should land on a page that directly matches the ad's message, offer, and intent. The experience should feel like a continuation of what they just clicked. Websites give users multiple paths to browse, buttons to click, and information to read. Landing pages give users one clear path to follow, one action to take, and one goal to focus on. A website is designed for exploration. A landing page is designed for clarity and action. Ultimately, the reason we like to use a landing page over a website is really, it just comes down to focus. We live in a very fast-paced environment where people are quick to leave if they don't get delivered what they expect to. For example, if you're running an ad that is advertising, a board and train promotion, when someone clicks your ad, you don't want to take them to the homepage of your website, and you even don't want to take them, and even if you have a board and train service page on your website, you don't want to take them to that either, because again, your website is going to have all these different elements that are irrelevant to what we want, that's irrelevant to board and train, and irrelevant to the action that we want the user to take, which is to give us a phone call or submit a form. We want to reduce choice as much as possible to create a focused environment where someone can seamlessly click your ad, go through the page to get the information they need, enough information to actually give you a call or opt in via a form submission, and that's it. We don't want them going to your YouTube right now or your Facebook or anything, or signing up for your blog or your newsletter. We don't want any of that right now, okay? We really want to remove the fluff and keep things simple. And that's why we use landing pages. Sorry to interrupt your video. Give me 15 seconds. We'll get right back to it. If you didn't know already, I own a marketing agency. We work exclusively with dog trainers to help them get more clients, and we've generated millions of dollars in new revenue for dog trainers. So if you want to consider working with us, go ahead and click the link below and we'll see if we're a good fit. Let's get back to the video. Okay, so here we have the landing page blueprint. Let's go ahead and get started by breaking down each section of our landing page. And then again, at the end of the video, we'll put it all together so you can see what it looks like as one unit. So the hero section, this is by far the most important section of your landing page because it's the only section where 100% of the users who click your ad will see. Anything below the hero section is not guaranteed to be seen by visitors. This represents the design of our hero section of our landing page. On the left here, we have different elements that you should include in the hero section. Let's go ahead and break them down. The first one we have here is offer. If you are running an ad and let's say you offer free in-person evaluations, or maybe you're offering, $250 off your board and train programs, whatever it might be, you want to make sure that you put that offer front and center on your landing page and in the hero section of your landing page. Okay. And that offer can really go anywhere. You can put it, maybe above this header here. You can include it in this subhead text, or you can even include it in the header section right here. But either way, you want to make sure that you include your offer, make it visible here in the hero section of your landing page. And then we have the bullet points. Here is the bullet points, and you can include the services you offer in these bullet points or benefits of your programs. For example, in these bullet points, if you wanted to cover the services you offer, you could do simple things like, obedience training, puppy training, leash training, right? And you can include those as bullet points here in your hero section. Or if you wanted to cover like benefits of your program, if you offer, if pickup and drop off is offered, you can put pickup and drop off. If you have, a lifetime guarantee or something, ongoing support, something like that, you can put that here in these bullet points as well. Okay, and then we have social proof. So it's very important that you use social proof. And we're going to cover social proof all throughout the landing page because it's one of the most, if not the most important element that you can have on your landing page, because people at the end of the day are going to expect you to say awesome things about your business, but they won't necessarily believe you. Who they will believe is other people who have actually worked with you and are saying great things about you. Other people who are like them, real dog owners who have worked with you. That says a lot more from their mouths than it does from yours saying how awesome you are. So social proof is very important. Make sure you include it in your hero section, and that is illustrated right down here with these 5 stars. You can include, a native Google review widget that shows the Google logo and the Google colors with your 5-star rating and how many reviews you have. In addition to, adding like a snippet of a review from a real client just to help bolster that star rating widget that you have as well. So you can include the star rating, you can include a snippet of a review from a real client, put them both together, and that'll be a great social proof element to put in your hero section. And then we have the call to action. Okay, and this is simply this black CTA button here. And this is a simple but often overlooked element that you must get right on your landing page. So do not hide the CTA button. There's 2 mistakes that I see happen all the time with the CTA button. Either they don't have one above the fold or the hero section, which is what we're looking at now, meaning someone is required to scroll down in order to opt in. We do not want to do that. Make sure you put your CTA button in the hero section somewhere. And then the other mistake I see people make is they make the CTA button the same color as their brand colors, which I understand why they do that, but it's not a good idea because we want the CTA button to stand out. We don't want it to blend in. And then we have the logo, branding, and real image. Logo, up on the top left here, make sure you put your logo, pretty straightforward. We have branding. So make sure you're using your brand colors. If your logo is green and black, make sure that, this banner up here, but make sure you're using your branding colors. And then we have real image. So back here in this background, you can see that there is a placeholder image right at the moment. But you want to make sure that the image you put is a real image that you took of your business, whether it's you with a happy client, whether it's, a picture of your facility, you in the context of training a dog, it doesn't matter. Just make sure it's a real image and make sure it's good quality. Don't use a stock image or an AI image. And then we have location. So make sure that somewhere in this hero section includes your location. If you're in the Sacramento area and that's your market that you serve, make sure that somewhere in this hero section, ideally in this header here, with this big bold header text, you include the dog training in Sacramento. Something like that, or make sure you put, even up here, you can put, serving Sacramento and surrounding areas. Make sure you include the location of the area you serve. And then we have phone number, very straightforward on the top right here. Make sure you include your phone number. And then down here, we have certifications and awards. And I'm not going to dive too deep into this. It's kind of a subsection that just helps add credibility. If you have any certifications or awards, go ahead and put them here under the hero section. So that's it for the hero section. Now let's dive into the problems section. The problem section. This section reinforces your solution by highlighting your audience's pain points and frustrations, building trust by showing that you understand their challenges. You don't want to present a solution to someone who doesn't feel like you actually understand their problems in the first place. Through the problem section, we're able to acknowledge the problems that our market has and, build some trust, build some connection, go, hey, look, I know what you're dealing with and I have a solution for it. And this is what it looks like. All right. The problem section, where they are now. Consider the pains and problems that your client or your soon to be client has right now. The leash pulling, the reactivity. Maybe when they have friends over, it's frustrating or it makes them anxious because their dog wants to jump on everybody and cause problems, right? Like, consider the problems that your market is dealing with before they give you a call. And that is what you'll highlight in this problem section. So consider the common problems they have, the common pain points. Is it causing problems in the household on a personal level with people in the household because their dog is acting up? Are they considering getting rid of the dog, which they love this dog, they've had it for years, but they can't take it anymore and they're very upset about, like, what are the emotions that they're feeling? These are all things you want to consider when you're creating your problem section. All right, think about things they've tried in the past. If they've maybe tried, maybe they've worked with Petco before and it didn't work out. Who would have thought, right? Maybe they tried YouTube and it didn't work out. The more trust you will build with that person and the higher likelihood they will give you a call or submit a form to find out more. All right. Now, of course, have a CTA button. Every section you should have a CTA button. All right. A call to action button, reserve my free evaluation, train my dog, get started. These are all different text variations that you can include in your CTA. And I have the CTA button here in this illustration. So that's the problem section. Now let's go over to the benefits/features section. This section highlights the benefits, features, and unique advantages of your service, helping to build trust and increase perceived value. And additionally, it helps you differentiate yourself from other dog trainers. And I should have added that there, but that's all right. The benefits/features section, it'll look something like this here, okay? You'll have your header and then you'll have, a vector image with a header below it and a subhead and a small body of text, usually 1 to 2 sentences max. These are different benefits or features that you can include in this section. You have things like convenience. Consider what about your business is convenient. Do you offer pickup and drop off? Are you available on the weekends? Do you have flexible scheduling? These are all things that you can consider to include in this section. And then you have guarantee/implied guarantee. If you have a results guarantee, then include that here. Or if you don't have a results guarantee, if you have something that is, ongoing support for the life of their dog, or maybe free access to group classes once the training is over. These are implied guarantees that say, hey, look, we're going to train your dog, and when it's over with, you're going to have access to us through ongoing support and access to these free group classes to ensure that if your dog ever regresses, we'll get you back on track. That's kind of an implied guarantee that you can include here in this section. And then level of expertise. If you've been training dogs for 25 years, or if you've trained over 5,000 dogs or 10,000 dogs, consider including that here. Outcomes people can expect. All right, so by the end of the training, what are outcomes people can expect? Will their dog walk on the leash without pulling? Right? Will they no longer have to worry about taking their dog to a park or having friends over? Right? Like, what kind of outcomes can people expect? Consider putting that here in this section. And then what's included, maybe if you use e-collars in your training, maybe you include that e-collar, which is, a $250 to $300 value. Go ahead and put that there. If you send frequent text and photo updates for people who board and train their dog with you, consider putting that here in this section, right? Again, what we're trying to do with this section is highlight the unique features, benefits, and advantages of your service to build trust and increase perceived value and differentiate yourself from other trainers. That's the benefits and features section. The next one we have here is the social proof section. This section builds trust by showcasing real customer testimonials from others who have used your service. Like I mentioned earlier, you can talk all day long about how great your service is and the benefits that you offer, but at the end of the day, dog owners are going to trust what other dog owners said about you who worked with you a lot more than what you say about your business. They expect you to say you're awesome. So the social proof section is very straightforward. You just want to showcase the reviews or customer testimonials that you have, right? And this can be in the form of a slider widget, a gallery widget, which is what this is here. You can do testimonial videos. If you have videos of people who are talking about their experience working with you, put that here in this section. You can have both a review slider or gallery and case study videos as well. The more the merrier when it comes to social proof. You really can't have too much. And a video of someone talking about how awesome their experience was working to work with you is a lot more powerful than just a text-based review. If you have videos of happy clients talking about their experience with you, definitely add it on your landing page. And then, of course, you have a CTA button. You actually don't see it here, but you should have a CTA button at the bottom of this customer slash social proof section. Always have a CTA button. You want to have like 6 to 8 of these things throughout your landing page. This section explains your services, their differences, and the outcomes each one delivers. Okay, so this is what services section looks like. It's usually going to consist of 3 cards. If you only offer 2 services, then it would be 2 cards. Or if you only offer 1 core service, then it would just be 1 big service card. So for example, let's say you're running a board and train ad and you have 3 different board and train services. You would want to create a service card for each one of those board and train services. Maybe you have a 2-week and a 4-week and a 6-week. You'll go ahead and include those and give them each their own service card. All right, and the elements you want to include are the name / type of program. In this case, with this board and train example, you would put 2-week board and train. And up here, you would put 4-week board and train and 6-week board and train. And then you want to have a 2 to 3 sentence description going over what the board and train is, who it's for, and the outcomes that they can expect from it. And you want to use real images. Do not use stock or AI images ever on your landing page. Use real images. And then you want to cover the differences / benefits of each program. So you don't necessarily have to have each and every element here. I mean, in this case, you pretty much do. But if in your description you are already covering the differences of your 2-week board and train versus the 3-week, then you don't necessarily need to add this again. But it's something to consider. For example, let's say you are running, instead of a board and train ad, you're running more of a general dog training ad, and maybe you have a card for a board and train program, a card for a private lesson program, and a card for a group class program. Well, in that case, it's important that you somewhere in the description or within this service card cover the differences between a board and train versus a private versus a group class, because not everyone is going to understand what the differences are. And with the board and train, talk about how it's an overnight program where the dog stays with you. With the private lessons, talk about how it's, one-on-one guidance from a professional dog trainer. Talk about how the private lessons are for people who want to be more hands-on in their dog's training, whereas the board and train is kind of a done-for-you, hands-off program, right? Consider those things when you're writing about your programs and their differences. And of course, have a CTA button. Again, add CTAs all over your landing page. You basically want to be able to scroll to your landing page anywhere at any point in time and stop and be able to see a CTA within view. All right. Next one we have is risk reduction section. At this point, we've covered the hero section, the problem section, the benefits section, the social proof, and the services section. At this point, someone who's made it this far down the page is certainly interested. Now we want to start introducing things that build trust and nudge them to take action. And this is what the risk reduction section is all about. This section is designed to nudge visitors who need reassurance by offering a guarantee or ongoing support that reduces risk and builds confidence in their decision. But it's very important that you recognize that from the dog owner's perspective, they're taking on all of the risk. They're thinking in their mind, okay, yes, this guy has good reviews, and yes, I do think he can help me or she can help me, but it's also $3,000. And what if it doesn't work out? What if I spend $3,000 and my dog regresses and is right back to where he was right now? These are conversations going on in the back of your prospect's mind. And so you need to consider that and empathize with that and go, okay, well, how can I reduce the risk for my prospects to give them more confidence in taking action? And that's what this risk reduction section is all about. So it'll look something like this. You'll have a real image of your business in the context of your business, whether it's you and a happy client or you posing with a dog or you training a dog, doesn't matter. Have a real image there, and then go over the details of your guarantee if it's offered, right? And so someone can know, if your dog regresses, here's what we'll do for you. Right? Or when the training is over, you'll have access to group classes for the life of your dog. Here's how it works. So cover those kind of things in this section here. Go ahead and add some social proof as well. Again, this is someone who has made it pretty far down the page at this point. They're almost there. We just need to nudge them with a nice guarantee to reduce risk and also bolster that guarantee with some social proof. And extra bonus points if you can add a review snippet that is related to the ongoing support or the guarantee that you have. So for example, if you have a review that someone, and let's say you offer free lifetime group classes for your existing clients, and if you have a review where someone is saying like, it was a great experience working with XYZ company, and even after my dog's training was over, I'm able to access group classes every Saturday, which has been a game changer. Like if you have something like that in your Google reviews or a review that is covering that covers the guarantee that you're highlighting in this section, bolster the guarantee by adding that review snippet to this section. I hope that makes sense. Really important section. And then of course, make sure you add a CTA button. And that's it for the risk reduction section. Now let's cover the gallery section. This section provides visual proof of your work, happy clients, and the experience people can expect from working with you. So I've already covered pretty frequently throughout this video so far the importance of using real images and the type of images you should use. So consider things like happy clients, you training dogs together in a board and train environment, right? Something like that. The environment where you train or where dogs stay. And then of course, add a CTA button. All right. And so this image gallery is just a nice way to go like, look, take a peek inside for yourself to see what this experience of working with us is like. And you don't necessarily have to use a bunch of images. If you have good videos, you can add those as well. Don't add too many videos because it will slow down the load speed of your page, which is also very important. But add 1 to 2 great videos if you have them, showcasing, the experience and what it's like to work with you. So gallery section, that's what that's all about. And then lastly, we have the areas we serve section. So very straightforward. In this section, you will simply answer the question that's going on in your prospect's mind, which is, do they service my area? And I know I mentioned earlier in the hero section, if you were based in Sacramento, that you should add, Sacramento, California, or rather, dog training in Sacramento. But there's also surrounding areas that are around Sacramento, which you also may service, areas like Roseville or Folsom or Granite Bay. And if you have someone from Folsom who doesn't see it in the hero section, but is still wondering, okay, he services Sacramento. Well, I'm 30 minutes from Sacramento. Maybe he services Folsom too. We want to make sure that we let people know, hey, we also service these surrounding areas. And that's what this areas we serve section is all about. And it's just a little section that goes on the bottom of the landing page, and you just put, areas we serve or locations we serve, and go ahead and put all of the cities that you serve. All right, so now we have broken down every section of this landing page and the elements that you should include for each section. And as promised, here is what it looks like when it's all put together. So at the top, we have the hero section that we covered. And then we have our certifications and awards. We have our problem section. We have our benefits and features section. We have the social proof, the services offered, the guarantee/risk reduction section, the image gallery, and areas we serve. All right. And this is what it looks like when it's all put together. And if you reference this blueprint or this template and create a landing page from it, you will get great performance from your ads. And of course, that's not guaranteed, but I can say with a ton of confidence, if you're running ads right now and you're taking leads to your website, go ahead and create a landing page like this. You will get better results. And once you've done that, give it a couple months. Let me know what the results are and come back to this video and you can thank me later. All right. So this is what it looks like when it's all put together. And if you want to have this blueprint for yourself for reference later, I will leave a link in the description where you can download this PDF absolutely free so you can have it for yourself. So there you have it. That's the landing page blueprint that has generated over $3 million for our dog training clients. This is the same blueprint that we use to this day, and now you have access to it absolutely free. And again, I'll leave a link in the bottom of this video in the description where you can download this PDF of our landing page blueprint. Now, if you don't want to take the time to try and build this out on your own and you'd rather have a professional team do it for you, I would love to talk and see if we're a good fit. You can go ahead and click the link below. There'll be another link that takes you to our website. Now, fair warning, it's going to take you to a video of me pitching our services to you. So if you don't want to be pitched, don't click the link. Otherwise, I would love to see if we're a good fit. With that said, I'll see you in the next video.